Hello everyone, this is Aravind Seshadri from Roll to Roll Technologies. Today we're going to talk about a couple of different features that we have. We're going to see one of the features of the SCU6x controller, wherein we can have a dual rail power supply. This means you have one rail of power supply for the driver and one rail of power supply for the logic or the controller. The main reason why somebody would have this is in the cases of safety. So let's say you have a web guide inside a guard door and you don't want the web guide to move when the guard door is open or somebody is accessing the machine close to the web guide. We can cut off the power supply to the driver part. This is mainly for safety reasons. If you're familiar with our SCU5 controller, you would know that this particular motor icon would be red in that case. Any SCU6 firmware version more than 4.2 will have this power indicator. So this green power indicates that there is power to the drive. The power to the logic is powering the display itself. So now I can move the actuator back and forth, and you can see that the actuator is moving. And if you want to cut off the power supply to the drive, I can do that. I have a switch here that would cut off. And now the power is cut off to the actuator, and that's indicated by red. And now if I try to move the actuator, I won't be able to move the actuator. And as soon as the power is turned back on, and you get that green signal there, and the power is on, now I should be able to move the actuator. So that's essentially it. This is the feature where you have the dual rail power supply that allows you to turn off and on the second rail, which is the driver rail. In the SCU6x MXD controller, we do have the option where we have a separate port that powers that, which is a 48 volts DC power supply. Again, we can do the same functionality there. If the power is cut off to that rail, then we would be able to see that indication on the screen. This dual rail power supply feature is only available on the SCU6x controllers with firmware version 4.2 or higher. This means that there are some older hardware and older firmware where you won't be able to see that feature, or you won't be able to have that same functionality. In those cases, you can still use the second rail to turn off power and turn it back on. The only caveat to that is there is no indication of whether the power is there or not. So all of these features available any controller with the firmware version 4.2 or higher, and both for SCU6x MD and SCU6x MXD.